The show today has a very special theme. Tomorrow, as we know, is Valentine's Day, the most romantic holiday or the most annoying holiday, depending on how you look at it. But my show today is going to feature three fun, creative ways to spend Valentine's Day. They're all performance-based events, all with something really unique to offer. So let's just jump right into it. My first guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center is Frank Fusaro. Hi, Frank. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Frank is artistic director for Bit Players. They are a improv comedy troupe based in Newport, Rhode Island's most award-winning comedy troupe, I should note.
Yes.
And they're doing a special Valentine's show tomorrow night. So definitely want to chat a little bit about Bit Players. Tell us a little bit about what Bit Players does, what your style is as an improv company.
Yeah, improv is an art form that's been around for a long time. It was used obviously to write scripts and all that kind of stuff early on, but it became a performance piece a long time ago. And there's generally just two different types of improv. There's long form improv and short form improv. We do what's called short form improv, which is a lot like Whose Line Is It Anyway, if you've ever seen that show. It's just short little games that we can jump in and out of, and different casts, different people for each one and all that. So it's really fast paced, high energy, and it's just something that people have come to love in our little space.
Yeah, and I imagine you take a lot of like suggestions from the audience and that kind of thing to keep it lively and
yeah, we always
unknown.
No two shows are ever the same. Everything is defined by the audience.
Yeah.
We are going to them all night long. We tell them they are part of the show as much as we are. And it's we always say if it's a good show, it's because we're very talented, and if it's a bad show, it's because our audience didn't help us out.
Right.
So,
Blame it on them. They
That's
gave
right.
the suggestions after
That's right.
all.
That's right.
So you guys have a kind of a long-standing like residence almost at Firehouse Theater. You're there every Friday and Saturday night doing this improv show. Tell us a little bit about how that got started, because you are the artistic director. You sort of helped facilitate this.
Yeah, back in 2009, the group went through a bit of a split, and there were a few members left over. I had actually been performing with a company in Warwick, Rhode Island, that I had just left. The owners of the theater and I had met at the Providence Improv Fest, actually, where I was performing, and we had struck up conversation. Long story short, they pulled me in and asked me if I would take over as artistic director there and help them kind of resurrect what was left. So I did. I spent about a year training those guys that were left in getting them ready to perform. And yeah, we've been performing every Friday and Saturday without missing a single weekend since. The only time we don't have a show is if it falls on a major holiday or if there's a parking ban in Newport. So those are the only two times we've ever canceled. Those are the minimum we do is Friday and Saturdays at 8. Beyond that, we have a ton of extra shows like tomorrow night.
Right, which we're definitely going to talk about because it's a special show for Valentine's Day called Love and Laughter. Isn't that lovely? So what can people expect? Are there going to be like specific games that are sort of targeted for this? Like what's the edge here for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, we every holiday show we have like games that are geared toward that holiday,
Right.
and we change everything up for our special shows, especially because we get a lot of repeat guests as much as we get tourists to the door. So we want people who are coming, who have been to the show before to see something totally different, from show to show. So tomorrow night we're going to be doing a lot of like love-based, comedy, obviously.
Sure.
It's going to be kind of hard because none of our female performers are available tomorrow night. So it's all going to be a cast of men for the first
hilarious.
time.
It's already funny.
Yeah, it's already funny. Yeah. You'll see. We'll break down barriers tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We have a guy named Vlad who is a Russian trained mime. He came from the Russian circus, studied under Marcel Marceau. For those that know who he is phenomenally talented, and he has a very special bit that we have him do on Valentine's Day. It's called Love Story, and he mimes out an entire love story after we interview a couple. So it's
Oh my gosh, that
it's a lot
sounds
of fun.
great.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it is.
So you guys also do kind of like improv musical stuff, which is so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like not only are you improving the content, which you do anyway as improv comedians, but you have to improv the melody and your rhyming. How did you guys get good at this? Did you work on that a lot?
Yeah, a lot. I am not a singer by any stretch of the imagination. Despite a deep voice, I'm not musically apt one bit. So it's funny you say we have to find the melody. I don't even know what a melody is. I can't find a melody in a song, but we do spend a lot of time working on what are different tropes and genres of music, where a rhyming pattern falls into the music, choruses for the more set pieces, those kind of things. So we spent a lot of time working on the skeleton of the game,
right?
And we spent a lot of time, working on how to be funny through music. But we don't spend so much time working on how to sing. Like we have a few performers who are very, very good singers, but the majority of us are not trained singers.
Yeah.
And you see that immediately when we start singing. So,
but it's okay because it's for comedy.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it makes it funnier.
Right.
To see us struggle that much.
With all the comedy shows that you guys have done, do you find it difficult to not fall into sort of traps or repetitive things because I'm sure subjects come up often, you're playing games that you've played before. How do you keep it fresh all the time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And it does happen because, as much as the audience dictates our show to us, when we ask them for something like an occupation or a career, or those are the same thing, but an occupation or a location or something, we often get the same stuff yelled out, and it's hard to sit there and say, no, we've done that before. Like, give us something.
Exactly.
Like, we kind of have to just go with it. So we challenge ourselves to go beyond what we've done before. But I also tell our company, if you ever got something that was suggested before that you did well on, that you hit a home run with, don't be afraid to kind of come back to that and use it again, because at one point that was you improvised it, you created it. It's not like that audience didn't see that show, so don't be afraid to you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time, because we do get a lot of repetitive suggestions from the audience. So yeah, that's a great question, and the other side of it is we always try to ask differently. So if I said to one audience, can I have an occupation, and we kind of get the same things, sometimes we make them take ownership of it. So we may say, can I have an occupation that your grandfather had, which is a totally different bunch of suggestions that we get.
You're sort of leading in that direction. Have you ever had like just a truly crazy suggestion or something that you had to be like, sorry, I can't do that? Or
Consistently we get things, we laugh about it. We used to have something play on our screen when you come to the show that would tell you things that you might think are funny, but they're really not.
Okay.
And we hear them all the time. So like when I ask for an occupation, I can almost guarantee you anybody in the audience is going to yell out proctologist or gynecologist every single time, and they think it's hilarious.
Really lowbrow.
Yeah, and they think it's hilarious. They think it's the first time we ever could have possibly heard it. But it happens almost every single show, and we have a running joke. Like if it happens, you'll see us look at our watches and go, "Oh, I went to 10 minutes before." Whatever. But yeah, it happens quite often. Yeah, probably more often than the stuff we can actually use. So.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your background. You actually have a background in theater, and you did study and work with a lot of different improv companies. Upright Citizens Brigade, I know, is one that's sort of a well-known one, especially among actors and people that are in like sort of Boston, New York, LA. So tell me a little bit about how you ended up in this improv world as opposed to theater.
Yeah,
or both. You're doing both.
I don't do too much traditional theater anymore. When I was in high school, typical jock in high school, played on the soccer team and didn't really want anything to do with theater, but I knew how to wield a hammer. I come from a construction family, so I would help build the sets. And I got hurt one year in soccer, and long story short, they got me on stage for one of the performances, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I got bit by the bug, I guess you could say, late in my high school career. So then when I went to college, I started hanging around the theater department at URI, and I became a theater major eventually. But I always kind of felt like I'm not really like a traditional theater person. It doesn't work for me. And I was in a show at URI, and this one friend of mine, Justin Lang, who is a local guy, came to me after the show and said, hey, you were really funny in that show. Have you ever considered doing improv? And I had no idea what it was. Had never really, I'd heard the word, but I didn't know what it was as an art form. And he asked me to meet him in the basement of this art museum in Warwick, which seemed kind of seedy. But I was like, sure, yeah, I'm young. I'll do anything, whatever. So I went, and it was just a small group of us back then. And I started learning improv from a guy from LA. And from there, with that company, I was open to a whole bunch of different experiences. We did a lot of festivals. We traveled a lot. All over the place, and that's where I started taking classes at UCB, some teachers from Second City, Improv Boston, Improv Asylum. We travel all over the place to do stuff. It cost me a lot of money back then. I always tell some of our performers now who are performing for the first time in their first company that they've ever been a part of and getting paid to do it. They have
Right.
no idea how lucky they are,
Oh
because
my
that's
gosh,
not
I
very
know.
typical for improvisers. But
very
yeah,
true.
yeah. So it was quite the journey to get where I am now. But yeah, it's where you just look back and the series of events that got me here, everything had to fall in place at the right time
Right.
for that to happen. So.
Well, it's so cool because it sounds like the company is truly like a company. I feel like sometimes with groups that do this kind of thing, it's almost freelance-ish where people kind of come and go. But it sounds like you are actually doing like training where you guys are sort of all on the same page and working together. It's cool. It's definitely not something you see all the time.
Yeah, and we credit that to everybody in our cast. I mean, we have a cast of people who are, everybody brings their own tools to
Right.
into our theater, and we wouldn't be able to work without each other. It really is a collaborative effort. But on the other side of that, I'm the artistic director, and I've been the artistic director since 2009. And I've tried to actually leave that position a couple times, and it always seems to come back, and I always seem to get pulled back in because we just have to correct our course, and the only way
Right.
to do that is to keep going the way we were. But yeah, we absolutely work together to accomplish a lot more than just our regular weekly performances. We've done a lot of corporate trainings. We do a lot of community reach out programs, a lot of after school programs, stuff like that. So we've really kind of stepped beyond our stage to try to bring improv out into the world and kind of find a way to use it to help our community. And it actually has taken off in the last 2 years with the help of one of our newest members, Anne-Marie Holly, who really has kind of taken the lead on that, especially the corporate training and workshops and all that stuff. So yeah, it really is. It's a group effort, and it's a fun family to be a part of. That's for sure.
It really sounds like it. And, obviously, most award-winning company in Rhode Island. What is the award that you're most proud of?
For me, it would be our TripAdvisor awards that we get every year. We get a certificate of excellence
Wow.
from TripAdvisor,
Yeah.
which isn't even common for a lot of performance companies. Most of them are just, they win like arts awards and those kind of things. But the TripAdvisor award is truly given to us because our audience members go out on the TripAdvisor and write positive reviews, and we encourage them to do that at the end of every show. But it's something that you can only get if they're doing that and if they're
Right.
good reviews. So, for us, it's not like a popularity contest. It's not getting a bunch of people to vote for you for a certain award. It's just earned,
Right.
and we win it. We won it every year for the last 6 or 7 years now. So that's a big one for us.
Yeah.
We do love getting the awards from all the different publications around Rhode Island. Those are always great too. But that one is one that we have no control over. It's just,
Right. You can't like push to get people to
we
vote.
can't go on our Facebook page and say everybody vote on TripAdvisor. We can beg them to put a review on TripAdvisor, but that's up to them on what they write. And we've been lucky enough to have some really amazing reviews.
That's really cool. So tomorrow night we have obviously this Valentine's show. You also have another special show coming up that's an all ages show.
Yeah.
So this is always fascinating to me because I just imagine it must be difficult as comedians who are doing improv to just like kind of censor yourself. Is it difficult for you guys to do these family friendly shows? Do you have to
For some of us, for some of us it is. I tend to be more of an adult comedian and catering to the older crowd. But some of us are very good at it. That's what I mean by everybody has their own tool set when they come onto our stage. And Vlad, who I was talking about earlier, the kids love him. He's animated. He's like a cartoon character in real life. So some, it depends on which performer we're talking about.
Right.
Some of us don't pull back, but we always joke it's like a live action Pixar movie because if I'm up there, you're gonna get some adult themed jokes that are too highbrow for the kids to even comprehend.
Maybe the parents will get it.
But the parents will get it, and it's a little softball to them. But yeah, I mean, the best thing about our kids shows is we involve the kids a lot more than we would involve a normal crowd. We get them on stage as much as we can, and a kid, it's amazing to see kids come on stage and either take to it like they were born to be there, or the kids who are waving, pick me, and then they come on stage and they just
clam up,
shut down. And it's like, oh yeah, and their parents are like, I don't get it. They always want to be on stage, and that's what. So yeah, we get them up there as much as we can. We give them a chance to be little stars. In that show. It's fun.
So the family friendly show is on the 21st,
Yep,
and of course tomorrow night, Love and Laughter, special Valentine's show, all at Firehouse Theater in Newport, which is your home base.
Yep.
All the information will be on golocalprop.com. Frank, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank
really
you.
fun talking to you. I'm going to take a very quick pause. I have so much more fun show for you, so stick around. We'll be right back.